Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 13 of the WILDCAST, the greatest podcast here on the internet. I'm your co-host, WILDCAT. We got our other co-host, Big Jiggly Panda. Today, we have a special guest, a group of guests for you, actually. The old school Machinima guys, the OGs of the YouTube scene, some of the oldest and most prominent figures that have got this whole gaming thing on YouTube started. SeaNanners, Hutch, and Mr. Sark. I mean, some of them are so old, like Mr. Sark, that he actually gets nom flashbacks here and there. So super fun episode talking to them, talking about some of the old school days of YouTube, how this whole gaming thing on YouTube got started, and how they all got into this scene and Machinima. Also, today's episode is sponsored by Manscaped and by Patreon, so be sure to check them out. Once again, the WILDCAST, though, if you guys are watching here on YouTube, you guys can get the audio-only version on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcasts, both by clicking the link down below in the description, or you can just search up the WILDCAST. You'll find it. It's there. Or, again, you can watch the video form here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's go ahead and get right into the sponsors. Ho, 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 fellas. Naughty or nice, 'tis the season to perform. Now, I know it's cold outside, and it may be tempting to look like a bush Wookiee down there. But no, you need to stay groomed, even in the wintertime. It's important. Ladies love it. It feels good. It looks good. Well, you're in luck, because Manscaped's got a new performance package. The ultimate package for your Manscaped grooming needs.
Included in the new package is the Weed Whacker. This state-of-the-art nose hair, ear hair, whatever orifice hair trimmer that you want, has a 9,000 RPM motor. That's like a Honda VTEC. And a 360-degree rotary blade that's guaranteed not to cut you or pull any hairs out. Just stick it on in there.
Oh, you can hear that baby going to work.
Oh, yeah. Almost 80% of partners said that long nose hairs are unattractive. Imagine they're down there playing with your eggplant, and they look up, and they see an azalea bush growing out of your nose. Instant dryness. Not worth it. Also included is the Lawnmower 3.0. Look at this beautiful razor.
Oh, it's so good.
Look. I'm shaving my microphone satchel hairs like it's nobody's business.
It's great. It's actually incredible. Like, you can just go to town down there, and you're not going to worry about cutting yourself. All the loose, saggy, wrinkly skin, you just go after it, dude. You'll be fine. I promise.
I would still suggest stretching it out, but it's not going to cut you.
You don't have to if you don't want to. So, if you need a Christmas gift idea for yourself, or your dad, or your brother, or technically you could gift it to yourself, but it'd be a gift for your girlfriend or significant other.
Exactly.
There you go. That would work out pretty well.
Or you could get it for your significant other, sort of as like a hint, like, it's time. I no longer want to play as Tarzan. Time to get rid of the jungle.
Either way, the Manscaped Performance Package is an amazing gift.
Of course, we can't forget the liquid formulations included. We've got the Crop Preserver, which is a nice deodorant for your sack. And, of course, the Crop Reviver. It's a ball toner. Keep them bad boys feeling nice and fresh throughout a nice hot day.
And if you guys get the Performance Package now, you will get 2 free gifts, including the Manscaped boxers that are so comfortable, and the Shed travel bag, which is super useful and super handy when you got to shave your balls on the go. The Performance Package is the best value Manscaped has to offer. And if you guys want to get it now, you can click the link down below in the description or go to manscaped.com/wildcast for 20% off and free shipping. Once again, link down in the description or manscaped.com/wildcast, manscaped.com/wildcast. 20% off, free shipping, shave your balls, make them look nice, Merry Christmas, and 2 shiny jingly bells.
Put some mistletoe on them.
Thank you, Manscaped, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast and making our holes look sexy.
This episode is also brought to you guys by Patreon. As a creator, sometimes it feels like you're making content for everybody but yourself. That's why I make Pokemon card video. Patreon is a creator-founded membership platform. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it at this point, where you can build up your own sort of audience and premiere things, sort of give back to them, come up with your own ideas. It's a way to give to them while also creating for yourself.
With Patreon, there are no advertisers, no algorithms, and no mainstream gatekeepers that are holding your paycheck or telling you what to do. On Patreon, the people who love what you make can directly support you with paid monthly subscriptions. And in return, they'll get access to tons of exclusive content and custom rewards that you create for them. So whether you guys are an illustrator, streamer, creator, video creator, podcaster, artist, cosplayer, whatever it may be, someone out there creating content, and you're struggling to find ways to support yourself or make money doing what you love, Patreon is a great solution, and you should check it out. If you guys are a creative person of any kind and you're looking for more financial stability out there, be sure to check out patreon.com, patreon.com, and sign up today. Start letting the people who support you actually support you.
What's up, Panda?
Same old shit, man.
Dude, your setup is looking sharp back there, though.
Yeah, I got bored not being able to do anything, so I was like, I'm just going to redo my entire office. I was motivated for about a week, and now it's
fake bonsai trees search.
There you go. Dude, I got to get little like ornaments on it to make it festive. Look like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree.
Yeah. No, I like the lighting. I like the symmetry.
Yeah.
WILDCAT set up.
I'm pretty plain Jane. Listen, I'm moving.
It does look like, he looks like he's in a shipping container, like on a freighter.
No, I'm actually moving in a couple months, hopefully. It might take a little longer because I'm having in the new house, I'm having like a full-on like office area built. So I'll actually, for the first time in my 9 years of doing this, have a place that doesn't look like some kid just went to Walmart and got those plastic tables and threw some monitors on it. Yeah. All right. Well, there's no real intro to this ever. I've been recording this whole time. We'll edit out anything that was dumb or whatever. But yeah, I just click because you never know what you might randomly start talking about and then miss it.
Now we know about Hutch's dreams.
Yeah, that's just always how I do it.
That's years of recording with Vanoss in practice right there.
Yeah, you
just
don't want to
record.
You don't want to miss nothing, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome. This is, I think, episode 12, I think, of the podcast. And if you guys aren't familiar with it, basically what we do, I've just been talking to like different people I've met throughout the years doing this whole thing, and just especially people that have been doing it a long time and just kind of going back through like the whole process, how everyone got started, everyone started playing games, and just kind of walking through the years. It's been kind of fun. Yeah, Anthony is much more familiar with you guys than I am because he was watching a lot more Machinima Respawn before I even started doing YouTube and like even learned about this whole world, because I didn't really get into it until like late 2011, and by then you guys were rolling by then. So I'm letting Anthony kind of take the lead on this one.
Yeah, that's when it's really started cracking, I would say.
Yeah,
that was the best of times and the worst of times.
Yeah, absolutely.
1 year.
We're gonna dig into it. I've dug down memory lane a little bit. I don't know. I think it's a fair introduction to say that, you know, what Tyler said is we're talking to a lot of people that we've met along the way doing YouTube, but I'd say it's a fair assumption that you three are probably an inspiration for a fair majority of the people that are out there doing it to some degree. If it's not directly, then somehow indirectly, because of, I mean, Adam, you were the first to 1 million in gaming ever.
When did that take place? I don't even know that. I know that happened.
2014, maybe?
No, it had to be before that. I hit 1 million. I hit 1 million in 2014. That had to be like 2011 or something. 2012 or 2011.
It would have been 2011 with the Minecraft stuff, I think.
Maybe. I mean, that sounds about right. I mean, Minecraft, yeah.
Also, you played with Deadmau5, so that's an easy 350K.
All right.
Wait, is that a thing that happened?
Yeah, very early on. I think it was Luke. He was talking to someone's representative somewhere and somehow, and that got set up, and we just kind of ran with it. But yeah, that was probably one of those very early collabs. What kind of happened before that? I don't know if because Machinima had a community, but it wasn't like universally known on the level of some of these personalities and DJs and producers.
I had interviewed M Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold. I think the same like early.
Was that on like Camp Hutch, or was that just like a? Yeah,
it was shortly after Modern Warfare 2 got launched, I think, and that was like the first sign that I think pop stars and sort of like different industries were getting interested in gaming. Mm-hmm. And then Deadmau5 was like a kind of a step up from that.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
And we were, we were all into all this stuff. Yeah, but Machinima saw dollar sign.
That's all Machinima saw.
As they did. Yeah,
they're not seeing many of those anymore.
No, they're not. Yeah.
So, of the three of you, Sark, were you the first one at Machinima after your G4 days?
Well, see, this is where it all gets hazy.
Okay.
Because it depends on how you define first and at Machinima. Because
it's
I was hired on
like within the
Machinima.
company.
Yeah. I was the first of us three.
Okay.
I was nowhere near the first at Machinima. Obviously, they'd been cranking for a while.
No. Obviously, you're not like the Godfather of Machinima, but like the first of you three to be a member of that sort of company?
I'm sort of the godfather of Respawn, even though they were starting Respawn and they were trying to figure out what to do with it. So I was the first hire as far as
did they poach you?
Putting it together.
They poached him and a lot of other people.
They did. Yeah, well, they poached, well, you know, legally this became a thing shortly after my hiring.
Oh,
Is this NDA area?
So no, I mean it might be if Machinima wasn't 6 feet under, but
Yeah,
I guess they're not technically, but
Okay.
I forgot about that. Yeah, there was like some drama around that. Right.
there was drama when I came in, and then we'll get to drama when I bailed. But yeah, they like G4 didn't want to let me go, so they were grumpy to Machinima about this and did a little saber rattling, and Machinima was like, yeah, we're the fucking Machinima was like the punk rock kid. Like, dude, we don't give a shit. They're like, we're like a scrappy bunch of rejects making good or whatever. And yeah, so they hired me on to help sort of steer and craft Respawn, because they needed a place, because these guys and wherever you're going to end up sitting, these guys and a bunch and some others who actually slightly predated both Hutch and Nanners. Like Blame Truth, XCal, even some gameplay people like Super Great Friend. They'd been doing commentaries, but that shit was blowing up, and it was basically filling and overshadowing the main channel on Machinima's content. And so they wanted a place to dump all that. So that's what they were hiring me to sort of set up and figure out what to do with all of this stuff. So I wasn't first at Machinima. I was sort of helping them organize Respawn initially. And then Hutch and Nanners came in. Also they were early, but not the first, but they were definitely the ones that became like the faces on the posters, that they were like the first two stars.
Were you guys what they considered like the premium directors before they brought you in to work at the brick and mortar location?
Yeah.
When exactly did the premium director thing happen? I got a little hazy in terms of, because I know you got a job, and I was like, job. I was like, I want a job too.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that's another thing. Real quick, before you get into that, at the time, keep in mind while we're talking about all this, at the time, getting the job at the place was the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now that seems insane. But at the time, just keep in mind,
there was more money there.
Yeah, and more security.
Other than via Machinima. So.
Well, there was more money there at the time.
There wasn't more money there. There wasn't more money there. But my logic was that it was like
there would have been if you asked for what I had told you to ask
for. But this was before we knew that channels themselves could be monetized. Yeah. So like you could I think I knew that I would have made more money if I would have just kept making more videos. But I figured long term there was way more security working for a company. Because I'm like, I don't know if like YouTube's going to change their algorithm in 6 months or how long the platform's going to be around. And so I saw that as an opportunity to jump into something a little bit more long term. And then like 6 months later, they started, because another company was doing it, the station, or the game station was like their subsidiary or whatever. Yeah. They were handing out partnerships to individual channels, which Machinima was not doing. And then Nanners and I at the same time were like,
I bounced so fast, because when I got the job, I didn't actually made money off of posting on Machinima. So when I got there, they actually cut me a check when I got the job, and I was like, so it was kind of a weird timing thing where I didn't know the potential it had until I had already joined the company. And then I was like, and then down the line, when that actually was the case, I was like, why am I working here if I can just be my own boss? And so I bounced so fast, and Sark and Hutch were like, all right, let's just feel this out. I was like, nope, I'm gone. I was like, I'm so gone.
Was one of the stipulations of being there?
You bounced first, but it was not a fast exit. Getting you guys out of there was like, it was like Jim Carrey climbing out of that rhino's ass. That's
yeah, I remember
it was a nightmare.
Yeah, was it written into your guys' contracts that you couldn't run your own channels while being there?
There
You
was
could post
ownership.
on your channel?
I don't know what it was, but like I remember I got the job and they're like, here's a contract. I was like, I just want a job. So getting out and making sure everything was clean and like I was my own, I had ownership over everything was a little bit messy, but that was definitely necessary.
We signed
They
over our
owned
channels
you.
to Machinima.
Yeah.
So any like Nanners like entire like Minecraft series, he didn't like that. All that ad revenue went to Papa Machinima.
Yeah. They could not make any money off their channels.
Conflict.
Keep in mind, also
30
keep in
million.
mind, we
Conflict of
gotta
interest, yeah.
paint because a lot of people watching this are not gonna know like the landscape was totally different. So
I barely
there was-
even know. That's what I was saying. Is like this was like some of this stuff was happening before
Yeah.
I even had internet. I lived out in the middle of nowhere in Indiana. I had dial-up until like 2011, 2010. So even all this stuff is like I didn't even know about all this stuff.
There was not live streaming. That just was not a thing. And
It wasn't even commentaries. It was just Bruce and XCal, or Bruce is XCal, and Anthony just putting up like gameplay videos.
What are their channels? I always kind of wonder because I know that those names are thrown around, but were there other like known gaming channels that existed? Like who is like the
Like
first?
pre Machinima.
Like in terms of YouTube gaming,
As far as, like,
and posting
gameplay?
content? Yeah, like who did?
I think
Actually,
commentary
there were tons.
Yeah.
Like, they just weren't. They weren't like they weren't like super big. Like 10,000 subscribers back then was.
I think Blame
Yeah.
Truth gets the title, but there was a bunch of people that popped up. Like until relatively recently, there's a guy called Super Great Friend, and I didn't find out about him until recently. But he's been uploading single player Let's Play commentaries since late 2009. So there was people that were in there super early.
I remember hearing about
that's
like
the other thing.
God.
As far as money goes, the other thing, just remember as you're listening to this that you couldn't, because some of these decisions seem so foolish now. But you basically,
like that.
Yeah. I'm going to speak broadly, but basically you couldn't make money on your channel.
Mhm.
Basically, initially, you built up a following, and then you made money on the side doing like maybe you could do some merch or something, but none of that was really a thing yet. It was more like just building up
There were
people following you.
There were like little kind of tiny like silly ways to make money. Like I remember you guys remember the toolbar? I know Nanners remembers it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds vaguely
Sark-
familiar.
There was like this toolbar that
Yeah, like
you
like an
could-
extension or something, right?
I don't even know how you could make money. Like I guess if
I
people
don't either.
downloaded, it was like there was like a Google Chrome extension or something, and you could embed like an RSS feed. So if you had like a favorite podcast, you could play it straight from the toolbar. And I don't even remember
Did
what
we
else.
do host migration with that thing?
Yeah, we
fucking
integrated
sucked.
into the toolbar. But yeah, I remember I made like $1,200 off that thing or something like that. And then there was like another competing video platform. I can't remember the name of it, but they offered partnerships, but it was like for very, very little money. So you could make like $5 off a video that got 50,000 views or whatever. But you would like everybody was trying to figure out a way to make money because I think everybody was kind of at the same time figuring out, well, if we can build these big audiences, then there just has to be a way to turn.
There was a
this into
few
something.
big like chapter evolutions. I'll probably miss a couple of them, but one of the big ones early on was that YouTube opened up like at the ability to monetize videos if you were under the umbrella of one of their like networks. Right. That was a big deal. So then it became this gold rush for who could be partnered. And
that's
there was
exactly like when I started. Was everyone was like, "Oh, I got to get Machinima partnership." Like that was
yeah.
And then there was sort of a macro competition between the MCNs of like how many collective views can we get a month.
Totally.
So, and then
the next chunk happened when YouTube said. And I remember a few mornings where I'd come in and get like the latest at work and be like, well, this spells the end of Machinima. And then, like, because it was like the other one was YouTube basically opened the floodgates and said, we can partner you with ads, like our AdSense program. And now you no longer need to be part of a network to monetize your videos. And ever since then, the use of networks has been dramatically reduced because it became sort of maybe a line of communication to YouTube, maybe, but even then, not always. So once YouTube did that, then the networks had to really scramble. That's why we get emails all the time in our biz emails that are like, "Hey, do you want to, sponsor this new? You want to do a 90-second pre-roll on your new video?" They're really trying to because now the networks see themselves as maybe I can bring them sponsored deals. That's become like a thing that the network focuses on. It used to just be like they took a chunk of your basic ad revenue. So
there was also a Mexican standoff between YouTube and creators and the game studios at the time, because technically you're supposed to be like, if the video game companies wanted to enforce it, they could say that if you want to post videos of their video game, you have to get a license to do it. But I think they figured out really early on that it was advantageous for them to allow creators to post games and monetize it, because surely it was driving up game sales. But in the beginning, there was just like any day now they could kind of start cracking the.
Do you remember, Hutch, when you would upload stuff, it would explicitly say like, "I own this," and you have to click it, and you'd be like, totally. In order to play, it's just like you have to play ball, but at the same time, it's like a weird shaky. But now it's like people are offering like exclusive opportunities to play things early, or they'll sponsor a video or what have you. So yeah, definitely way different.
Yeah, and YouTube knew what was going on too. It's not like they weren't aware.
Yeah,
when we would click those boxes or whatever.
Yeah, so it was a whole different universe.
Yeah, I still remember my first contract. I was with Yaush. You guys remember Yaush?
Oh yeah.
I was with Yaush, dude, who at the time was like, Yaush is who you went with if you couldn't get with Machinima. I'm not ashamed to admit it, because it worked out all right for me. They weren't predatory in any way. They were pretty chill, but my first contract sucked ass. So with Yaush, the way it was Yaush was technically a subsidiary of Fullscreen, who I've been with for a long time. And Fullscreen would pay out 75% to the creator and then 25% to themselves, unless you were with Yaush, in which Yaush would take another 10% of that 75%. So I was getting like 67% or something of what I made or something like that.
Still better than my OG Machinima contract. The old 60-40.
I just remember Yaush. What a stupid. So dumb.
They fucking tricked me into promoting them, actually. Like, I didn't know what Yaush was, but you remember at COD XP 2011 Sark and Nanners? I don't know if you guys were there, but they just this group of people walked up to me and they say, "Hey, can you look at the camera and just say Yaush, damn it?" I was like, sure.
That was a thing.
I found out afterwards that I was like,
did you
promoting
sign
our competitor.
or no?
Yaush, damn it. Yeah, I remember that.
No,
I didn't get in trouble for that, or
no? It was just kind of embarrassing.
Oh, okay.
I remember one thing with Yaush early on is they required you to like opt into this like third-party program thing, where essentially every person that was partnered with Yaush would like every other person who was partnered with Yaush's videos. So every day, my account was liking hundreds of videos.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
dude.
crazy.
Machinima had that too.
Adam's face.
Dirty.
Yeah.
Machinima had that too. Yeah. We called it the Death Star, so they could mass like videos with this tool.
Wait, what? Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
The Death Star.
Yeah.
Jesus.
They wanted to pimp something out. They'd be like, "Dude, the new Mortal Kombat series is up," or whatever, and then all the channels that were under Machinima could be like simultaneously liking this thing.
I think it was favoriting back then. I could be wrong.
It was and favoriting. Yeah, there was, and then there was the stars before that.
And the 5-star rating system.
Yeah.
Did they have the Wayback Machine? Is that still?
I think that's still a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back. I went back and looked at my channel like super early.
Hold on.
I jokingly put a fictional penis size in the profile of my original YouTube channel. You can still find that. You can still find that on the. I put like my height, weight, penis size, and you can still find that on the Wayback Machine.
Oh my god!
Was it accurate? Your information's just all out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if people were archiving everything.
Oh,
I don't think it was like as clear back then that the internet was like really written in ink. But yeah,
I think I'm finding a snapshot right now of my channel from July of 2012. It'll pull it up. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know what this means, but my
machine is so cool.
My profile picture is some hot chick with nice tits, and my channel name is I Am WILDCAT, and then apparently at this time I was an AGN live director, whatever that means. I don't remember that at all.
AGN Live?
It had to be like some small network of friends or something.
So wait, how did you two?
I had 443 subscribers. This is July 10th, 2012.
How did you two get into gaming? Like I know a little bit about Jiggly Panda, but we can talk about that again. But if you're saying you only had dial-up internet until 2012 or 11 or whatever, how did you?
Yeah, I can walk through that.
Like multiplayer games.
Yeah, I can walk through that super quick. So I played a lot of like Call of Duty with friends, obviously, just like split screen and stuff. I played through all the campaigns. It was like my favorite series. I was excited for COD 4, not because of the multiplayer, but because I got to play the campaign in HD. Like that was the exciting thing for me. And then I remember, I think it was
fucking dope.
Yeah, and I think it was Modern Warfare 2. I went to a friend's house and played online for like my first time, and I did all right. Like I was pretty okay. And then Black Ops 1 came out, and then like midway through Black Ops 1 is when we finally got high-speed internet, which out in the middle of nowhere, it was still like 3 megabits down, like 1 up or something like that. I would like 2 bar most of the time. That's when I started, and I don't know, I just got pretty decent at it like right away. But I around that same time or a little bit before that is when I found YouTube. So I was just picking up all the tips and tricks. And then when I started my channel in 2011, on my first video, Vanos, who now has like 25 million subscribers, he wrote a comment on my video and being like, hey, great first video. If you want to talk, I sent you a message or whatever. He was just going around and finding people who had just started channels, was just trying to network with them. And I was one of the people he messaged, and Anthony was one of the people he messaged. So that's how we met.
Fucking hell. Talk about striking gold.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The comment's still on my channel. You can still see it. You go on that first video, you can see one of the comments is like from Vanos Gaming 9 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. Were you looking just for tips and tricks? Or were you looking for
I watched commentaries and I watched a little bit of everything. Yeah. But
it's like I think I found XCal first, and I just liked watching him because he just shit on people. Like he would just destroyed pubs. And then I found Wings back before he's always been insane, let's be honest. And then I think Hutch is right when I found you, because I think it was either you were doing a dual comm with John, S&Ds.
Oh yeah.
Or if it might have been the one with Jordy. Whatever that fucking map was.
The hotly contested camping debate.
That one.
So I got to watch that like a year or two later. It was like, man, this is some good shit. I had like 2 years back then. I had like 2 years of random like drama and events that had happened in this community I just learned about. So that was a fun, like 2011 was a good year to get into watching YouTube, because there was so much shit before that was just like the juicy shit, like I just got to see the highlights. It was great.
Well, drama back then it's not as dark as it is now. Like drama now
it was like faking nukes and shit.
Really terrible shit. But back then it was like faking nukes or camping or whatever.
I've always thought it's funny that the whole movement basically kicked off with Call of Duty, which is now considered to kind of be like the Neanderthals of gamers. Like the Call of Duty, the Call of Duty kids are the ones that kicked off the whole broadcast gaming movement. I always thought that was kind of funny.
I think they were more considered Neanderthals back then, but now I feel like the COD scene has way more legitimacy because of the esports scenes primarily. But then now you have huge streamers like Nick Merckx and
crossplay and all that and stuff. I think it was just that back then that was like, and for most people, like the pinnacle of online gaming was like Xbox 360 Call of Duty games. Like that was like as good as it got in terms of playing online if you didn't have like a PC and stuff, obviously. But
there was a ton of Halo content too.
True, Halo obviously.
It wasn't just COD was like definitely reigned supreme back then, but there were a lot of Halo griefing videos back in the day too that got a decent amount of views, and there were people that sort of laid the groundwork before we came. So it wasn't like COD was the thing that like kicked it all off. Like there were like
but it was the wave that like carried it into
caught on. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably just because the game itself was so successful. Like Modern Warfare 2 at the time was like the biggest entertainment launch of all time. I think they made $1 billion in a few days, which was unheard of at the time. Maybe like Rockstar Games, maybe Grand Theft Auto did similar numbers,
GTA did something like that.
Well, I think the rowdiness of the crowd actually is part of why. It's just always been funny to me because, you know, you look now and it's like, let's play Call of Duty's big, but there's just so many other things that people do with it. But back then it was just a bunch of crazy people like running around either wrecking or being like wildly inappropriate. And it was fun to watch.
That second part is key too, because we grew up in a time where if you wanted to watch something with cursing or whatever, you had to like rent it from Blockbuster, or your parents had to have like an HBO account or a Showtime account or something like that. And like right around like the early 2000s, like mid 2000s to 2010 was this sort of like advent of this whole new type of way of consuming content. And now I get people that hit me up that are like, I've been watching your videos since I was 12 years old. I'm like, you should not. 12 years old, but that was, I think, probably the biggest part of the appeal, because like you could just click a button and then you're watching somebody talk about like threesomes or whatever, and there was no barrier.
I mean, you were also one button to click away from watching a threesome, but I mean, sure, whatever your choice was.
Yes.
But you might get trouble if someone got eyes on your browser history doing that. But now it's like, dude. Now you can go on Twitch and watch like chicks paint their titties, and it's like, Mom, I was just watching it's little Minecraft. Yeah.
But Adam, you were kind of the good boy of
I was about to say that
gamer. Yeah,
you
early on, I was really mindful of not wanting to be like to curse, and because I knew that I'm like, I have no idea who's watching me. Over time, it just degraded, and it doesn't really matter anymore. But like early on, I was very mindful of like, okay, like kids play video games and I'm playing video games, I'm making video game videos, so it made a lot of sense. But when I go back and watch stuff, you can kind of see it slowly, because I remember we had recorded a commentary and you were trying to get me to curse, which I did curse in real life. I just was trying not to be problematic, but yeah, I mean, now it's just kind of like whatever.
We got you.
That was half the shit back then, was just trying to make it as uncomfortable as possible.
It was a lot. I was a lot more shy back then. Yeah, pretty much. That was the MO, is that you guys would just do some fucked up stuff, and then I'd just be like, did they just say that? Did they just do that? Why are we here?
The elevator pitch that I gave people for all of Respawn was it's two gaming like online celebrities trapped in a room with me. That was like the So, because nobody knew who I was. They knew who you were. And the whole show was just pretty much me making both of you uncomfortable. It's like
it worked out. I mean, Respawn was an internet phenomenon. I mean, it really was. It was something where a lot of people, because was it weekly? Daily? Did it kind of shift around?
It shifted around.
Yeah. It started as a few days a week, and then they wanted it every day. And then that's when I got real burnt out. Sark, I think you both had like way more stamina than I did, but I felt really burnt out by like the end of 2011. Which, and then I would like beat myself up about it too, because it was like, well, we're only recording for like 2 hours a day, so how hard could this be for like to do it 5 days a week? But that wasn't really the amount of time wasn't really the point, but it was just sort of like everything that went into it. I felt like it took a lot of energy out of me.
Yeah.
Well, you were editing your own videos and shit too.
Oh, I see. You're just overworking yourself, not necessarily what you were doing. You were just taking on more than you could handle. Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like a little bit, yeah. And then I kind of felt like personally responsible for the company after a while, because people would always like go to me for complaints and stuff on social media. So every time Machinima fucked up, which they did very often, I would get really uncomfortable. And
that's Fwiz now on another level with YouTube. Fwiz I see people tweet shit at him all the time. I'm like, that's not his fucking job, dude. Like,
he's really good at compartmentalizing.
Yeah, he is. But I can see how that would be pretty draining.
What initially led to you leaving, Hutch? Was it a compound of everything you just said, on top of the money that you could be making from your own channel? Because didn't you step away for like a year or two?
It was like 6
completely?
Months. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I went almost completely off the grid. When Nanners left, it really bummed me out, because I felt like in my heart I knew like this was the beginning of the end, and I didn't want it to end, because 2011 was a hell of fucking fun year. I think Nanners and Sark would agree. Like, we got to travel a lot, and it was just like you said. It just felt like we were a part of this like cultural phenomenon, and that felt really fun and rewarding. And then as soon as Nanners left, that was like the first marker of, okay, well, this is, this thing has a expiration date. Because when I first got the job, I'm like, Machinima's gonna last forever. Like I'm gonna be doing this when I'm 50. And like for it to start to end like a year and a half later really emotionally affected me. And so I got pretty depressed. And so I stepped away for like 6 months and then kind of slowly crept back.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier though when you get to make your own hours and you get to decide what kind of content you want to make and you don't have to worry about ridiculous ad buys like what was Full Metal Jousting on
Full Metal Jousting, yeah.
What was Alan Wake? Remember Alan Wake? You were like going to the middle. I think Sark was going to the middle of nowhere doing God knows what.
Yeah. What the fuck was that? Dude, I'm up in the mountains.
And then was
with Ron. I was with Ron, waiting around at road tripping with our boss.
It was like The Hangover.
So this is how it went. So like nowadays, like you get, like we were saying earlier, you get, like people reach out to you, want you to pimp out a game. Dude, with Machinima, they would hit up Machinima and Machinima would try to sign these like multi-million-dollar engagements that would like be worked into every video. So it was like every video we did had to start off with like a horror skit that had like a through line. So it was like, dude, the office is haunted or whatever. And it
wasn't supposed to be funny. It was like they wanted it to be like, no, we want them to actually be scared. And it just felt so out of place.
They thought it was super scary to have annotations popping up in the middle of your screen that would say like, eat me or whatever for a second. And you'd be like, oh, what was that?
There was a zombie show too.
I forgot about annotations on YouTube. Holy.
Oh, man.
If you watch the videos.
They called it alternate reality something? ARG. What did they call it?
ARG, alternate reality games.
Yeah.
Augmented reality.
Yeah.
They're always trying to do. Yeah, they would work in. They've tried to work in a bunch of ARGs, but they're super weak.
Didn't you say?
But it was just always
Vagisil wanted to sponsor Respawn. Didn't they literally want to sponsor Respawn?
Yeah. Anything that like there's supposed to be a buffer. So I was working. If you want to see the interior of Machinima, there's a production team and a programming team. And then there was a ads and sales department. So the programming team is deciding what shows they need and when shit goes live. And then technically like the production team, us, were like their client, or we had a client relationship. So they would come to us and say, this is what we need. We need something on Friday. And we have Vagisil on the line, and we'd be like, and then it's on us to be like, okay, Fridays, like sour vaginas. What do we got, people? And it's like the whiteboard, and you're like, and then the ad and sales team is supposed to be the team that would say, no, I don't think Vagisil is a good match for our all male Call of Duty gaming team. But it didn't. That shit just would like fly straight through all like barriers and just land right on us. And so that's part of where a lot of the exhaustion came from, is the asks that would come down to us were just like, I mean, it ranged from, we just need you to do another show, Hutch. And he'd be like, oh, I don't want to do another show. I just want to play Call of Duty. Or it could range to, we need a 6-part Alan Wake horror anthology shot that's going to bookend your videos for a month, and you'd just be like, dude, this sucks.
But some of them were,
which
really
is
cool.
why I ended up in the lake in the mountains while these guys were back at the office, because I didn't want them to have to deal with
a
it.
giant meat shield. Everyone's
I ended up being
and you're just like, I can talk to them.
I'll do it. I'll be your whore daddy.
But
You say Vagisil, I say how deep.
There were some of
We
them that
didn't do
worked out really
Vagisil,
well
though. I
though, because
canceled that.
you had fun with like some integrations were pretty fun. Like you had a lot of fun with the Tron one. I remember because you were a big.
I
fan.
mean, fun.
Well, you look like you had fun.
I smiled a lot on camera.
Yeah, I was wearing a skin black suit and like skin tight black suit. Even like shit like Full Metal Jousting. I don't want to cover jousting, but it was a trip to New York.
What is Full Metal Jousting?
Dude.
We're gonna need the story.
He just shakes his head.
We're gonna need the story.
It's exactly how it sounds.
Because you're saying it like we all should know, but I have no idea what the hell Full Metal
No, there's a whole
Jousting
bunch of this
is.
shit. X-Arm, you guys remember X-Arm?
Vaguely,
The extreme arm where you arm wrestle while chained to a post, but you can also kick and punch the other guy. And they were trying to make that into a fucking real thing. It still is. If you just Google X-Arm, they're still doing it. But anyway.
They were convinced on some level that might take off or something.
They wanted us to do all this shit. Full Metal Jousting was a real jousting,
That doesn't sound
like
real.
Knights in Armor show, and they wanted us to promote it and be like, "Hi, Mr. Sark here, live from the Middle Ages," or whatever. Like,
We were in Madison Square Garden. They were doing
Yeah.
like some kind of a rodeo event in Madison Square
Were
Garden.
there horses?
Yeah,
Just like
it's
full
real.
on horse
it was the
jousting.
whole-
the whole
the whole
ass
thing.
jousting thing. Yeah.
Sounds like
so
a
they were the
rivalry.
halftime. So yeah, it was like a history show or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget what network it was going on, but they were doing the halftime show within a PBR like big rodeo event at Madison Square Garden. So we got to fly to New York. That's cool. We got to hang out, but we didn't get to do anything we wanted to do. We just went to Madison Square Garden and watched a rodeo, which was cool. And then we had to do like all these interviews with jousters and shit. And it's just, it sucked. It fucking sucked.
They'd film our reactions. So like there was this expectation that, and I'm not very good at faking emotion. I'm really not good at that. And so like they would like point the camera in my face and they would expect me to be like, when some like major joust happened or something, and my face was just sort of mildly.
So you get a lot of reactions like this, us watching and going like this, and then seeing the camera and being like, or they would only send one camera to do an interview, and everyone's still working their shit out. Like our cameramen and sound guys eventually really had their shit down, but sometimes on the road, you'd hire somebody there, and not everyone's firing on all pistons. So then you get interviews where it's like, it's me with a mic, and I'm saying like, "So tell me about your armor." And then the camera would pan over to the guy, and he'd be like, "It's so heavy." and then he'd keep talking. "I polish it every day, la la la." But the camera would drift back to me, and I'm like this.
Riveting.
And I'm like, "Yeah, he's talking. Why are you pointing the camera at me?" Anyway, it's just sloppy fucking horse shit.
I'm so sad
There's
that like
tons of
all
that.
those videos are gone. I mean, obviously some have been like re-uploaded and stuff, but
Didn't
how
somebody
many
archive Respawn?
There was a guy named Kaminaji that archived, I think, like a lot of it, but not all of it. But the IG guys somehow managed to escape with like a hard drive copy of all their videos, and I wonder if there's a hard drive out there in some
Floating
warehouse
around,
or something that
worth
has
millions.
all of the Respawn videos. I'm gonna say it's probably a good thing that those videos don't exist anymore for the sake of our future careers. But there was like some
own it.
some degree of sadness, I guess. But it's probably
I mean,
a good
it's
thing.
We were
it's-
wild.
It's comedy with the timing. Like The Office couldn't be remade today with some of the jokes that are on there.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. And
I mean,
there's
you guys-
also
You guys had
a lot of like
hung
the
out in
camp.
Whore Alley. I mean,
Yeah.
One of the first videos that Sark ever did, he looked at the camera and said he would violate, and I'm using a different word. He said he would violate his mother to death for $10,000. And then
See, that's not
the
for
ad sales-
everyone, you know, these days. But
Yeah. That's for a very niche audience, you know?
or all audiences back then.
No, our
It's
goal back
narrowing
then,
a little bit, but
even the like comments back then were like, "Jesus fucking Christ, it's too far, dude."
but you knew how to your credit, you knew how to ingratiate yourself. Is that the word? You knew how to appeal
Yeah.
to the caught
Oh, well, I think so.
Because you
So
sounded like not too dissimilar from what you would hear on like the comms when you were
I think
public.
context is everything, and even though when you get like that far out there, it gets a little shaky. I think there's a lot going on, like in the in the scene and what we were doing that it it paints all that stuff in a very clearly like joking picture, so that even if somebody gets butthurt by some of the shit we did today, I mean, there's blackface clips floating around. We've got all kinds of insane shit, but it's all in this, like, dude, it was just wild jokes.
Would put Nanners in blackface for one of the thumbnails.
yeah.
He's like, what?
One of the Respawn thumbnails, he made you black and gave you an afro. You don't remember?
Surprise! I'm just trying to picture like a YouTuber trying to do that these days, like the shocked like face cam like thumbnail.
Dude, it was
my
the Wild
God.
West.
No,
Oh my
I mean,
God.
Do you guys have specific memories of like a super uncomfortable moment on camera? Not even as necessarily as a group, but just personally. Like, is there a moment you could reach back on and been like, fuck, I would never want to relive that? Either at Machinima or not. Now I'm just kind of curious with all these stories.
My memory's super bad, so
You blocked them out.
I'm like a future thinker. So like all of this, I'm just like, sounds great. I don't know. You guys probably, because I was thinking when you were telling stories about traveling, because I remember when I came on, you guys got to travel internationally, and they would pick the two of you as like the A squad, and I kind of got left behind. But I'm sort of glad now that I didn't get subjected to like metal jousting and all kinds of like shenanigans.
Gamescom day one was brutal. But that was actually, you know what? That'll be my memory. It was, and we've talked about this a bunch before, but they flew us to Cologne. They flew us to Dallas, and then we came back for a day, and then they flew us to Cologne, Germany, and it was I think like a 12-hour flight or something like that. I don't know. It was a pretty long flight, like 9 to 12 hours. And I didn't get any sleep the night before because my logic was that I'm just going to sleep on the plane, and then that way when we get there, I won't be jet lagged. And I couldn't sleep on the plane. So by the time we landed, I had been up for like 36 hours or something like that. And they scheduled us to go to a Sony party and cover it that night. And so we took like a 2-hour nap, Sark, and then I don't know how you did it. You were the champion of that day, because if you look at the footage, and which you can't find anymore, you're doing this interview and I'm just in the back, just like, just like barely hanging on to life.
Yeah, it was nasty.
That was
brutal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember a time when Nanners was real uncomfortable.
What about
I'm sure you were responsible for a few of them.
I think I was always the straight man. Like, I remember one time we got cupcakes and you guys wanted to like eat cupcakes together. I was like, oh, dudes, I don't want to eat your cupcakes. And you guys were like sharing them. I'm like, because you guys were pretty on board to do just about anything. I'm like, I don't know where you've been, Lou, so I'm just not touching that cupcake. But I don't know. That was the only thing I can think of. And anything gross, probably. But in terms of like awkward situations with people that either don't want to be there and then we don't know what we're doing, I mean, that happened like a lot, especially when you have, because Machinima was big in a certain bubble, but not universally so. So I'm sure that probably there may have been situations, but again, probably I forgot about them all by now.
Especially for you and me, because Sark, you had a experience with being in front of camera, maybe interviewing people too. I'm not sure how much experience you had, but Nanners and I was always
behind the camera. Yeah,
rose from absolute obscurity. Like
totally
was like a film school student, and I was a waiter, and then we got thrust into this situation, which it was totally scary and uncomfortable, like 50% of the time in the beginning, I would say, and then we probably got a little used to it after that. But yeah, it's scary as hell when you have no experience and you don't know how good you're going to be at interviewing people. And
yeah, it's real stressful. So like I had a little leading into it from G4, but it wasn't a ton, and I never wanted to be on camera. I still don't. But they had at G4, I had pitched a thing where I would play with viewers. And they could turn it into a segment, and it would sort of address the criticism that like Morgan and Adam are not gamers or whatever, which wasn't true, but they definitely they liked playing different games than they weren't MLG competitive gamers, so they like playing platformers and RPGs or whatever. So I was like, how about I play these things, and then you can turn it into a segment of playing with viewer segment. And they were like, good, do it, and you're hosting. And I was like, okay. So that was basically where me being on camera started. But with you guys, yeah, people don't people don't. It's hard. It's hard to understand until you've been in the position where, say, for example, like you're going to E3. I remember E3 was always really stressful for us because an E3 for us was we're showing up. We've got a camera and sound guy assigned to us, and we have a schedule of like 15 devs that we need to interview about their game. And it's nothing. It's not about like what's in our wheelhouse or what we're interested in. It's just we're part of the larger schedule. And so it's like you've got Hutch has got to interview
Logging Simulator 2013.
Yeah. And then Nanners is talking to the lead dev at Squaresoft via a Japanese English translator about the latest Final Fantasy.
I remember that, but that sounds wonderful.
and you're not looking forward to any of it, and you're like, oh God, I'm gonna look like such a fool because I know nothing about this guy's game. I mean, hopefully you did homework the night before, but even then you're kind of faking it.
I did do homework and I was still scared shitless.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just stressful. Yeah. It's just stressful because it's almost like the stress of doing and again, this is not something a lot of people can like hone in on, but it's like doing improv because you're just winging it for hours. You're just like hoping that you don't make too big a fool of yourself. Yeah. That's probably my most stressful moment was, I would say, when they had me hosting the Inside Gaming Awards. So I was like the pre-show, like the Ryan Seacrest.
Oh, I think you've told me about this one before. I love this story.
Yeah, and so I'm doing the pre-show, and it's fun, and it's like, you know, everybody's there, and all the pals. I don't have time to do much because for an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm basically on my own. But they're trying to bring people up for me to talk to, so it's literally like you would see a New Year's Eve show counting down to the ball dropping or whatever, where it's like different guests coming up. And there was a point where they have a schedule for me, but there was a point where they just told me like, you got it. They do this like behind the camera. The producer's like stretch. You got to stretch. And usually that's like, okay, so they're trying to get me a new guest, and I'm like, so I'm just riffing. I'm live the whole time. You can't stop and take a break. So I'm like, what do you talk about for like 5-10 minutes? And then the guy goes like this. He's like, we need 45 minutes. And I'm like, what? Like, give me somebody to talk to. And so I had to just bullshit for 45 minutes. And by the end of that, I felt like I'd run a marathon. It's mentally exhausting.
Just sweating profusely.
Manners and I sort of revolted towards the end of 2011, where it was just like, we just sort of decided that we were just going to, instead of...
Oh, yeah, we were hanging out in my apartment. I remember that.
They would just have these rules, like you had to record everything in studio, but they didn't give you like a decent space to do it. So like you'd be recording these gameplays, but there'd be like 6 people in your area, and you're only divided by like this like thin divider. I
hate doing sponsor videos in that same environment. I've done that before, like years ago. You would go to like the dev studio or whatever, and they would be like, all right, you're gonna record the game. But by the way, there's just 6 people walking around listening to you act like a maniac.
Yeah.
Do you remember the audio booth was a cardboard box with foam taped on the inside and a Yeti microphone in it, and you just had to it was like this big, and you just put your head in it and record it.
This was at the office?
Yes, and you're sweating profusely because it was so hot in there too. But Nanners and I would just be like, we're just not going to do that. And so we would go over to his apartment, and I would smoke some weed. And
they told me that I couldn't bring my computer in. They're like, I guess it was a liability, or they were just trying to be controlling of the environment, figuring, I don't know exactly what they thought I was going to do on my computer that was going to be an issue. But I remember they told me, because I'd have to edit videos, like, because I was making videos to post on Respawn. But they were just very restrictive about it. A lot of weird things. It's almost like they were figuring it out as they went, but no one really quite knew, it seemed, what they were doing. And it became very apparent over time. It was just like, so are there rules, or should we even be here, or what's happening? I just don't understand.
Yeah. They were kind of there was no groundwork laid because nobody had really ever done that before. I'm sure it was kind of confusing for everybody, but obviously the execution was not the best.
No.
I think I think most of the audience probably didn't pick up on how dysfunctional things in actuality were. Like it's because like it seemed like they were still enjoying that kind of shit. Like pretty.
I don't think anybody really saw the severity of it until obviously Adam, you left. And then people are like, okay, now what? And then Hutch, did you leave on like April 1st and everybody thought it was a fucking joke or something?
That was really unfortunate.
Yeah. Like you're sitting there like miserable.
Back in the time
Sark
when everybody would upload
like,
I'm quitting YouTube videos back then on April 1st. Literally everyone, your entire
But this one was legit and there was like emotions and like Sark is just sort of like
he's leaving.
It's not fake.
Yeah.
Dude, can we talk about your exit interview, Hutch, where I told you we're going in, I've got you out, you're free, you're gonna get your channel, all you have to do is shut the fuck up and don't say anything. Just don't say anything. Do you remember this?
You recount this story, but we talked about it at the throwback inbox episode that we did like a year ago. I have no memory of this. I totally believe you. I'm not saying it's not true, but I have no memory.
I was so pissed. So first off, negotiating or assisting in the negotiations, spearheading, we'll say that. The effort to get them out with their channels was a Herculean, like 18-month just battle. Because Machinima was saying, Nanners, you remember, Machinima was saying, yeah, you're free to go, but your channel's ours. And you're like, I want all the stuff that I've worked
post
for.
Videos. Yeah. Who's going to post videos if it doesn't belong to me?
And it was such a monumental, like, bi-weekly battle to get them to finally, and remember, they only let you go with, they were like, okay, but you got to come back in and do shows every now and then. And I'm like, just go and I will never call you again. Just go, fly.
Yeah. It was like we broke up and there was like this weird, like we didn't fight our way out of it. It was just like, okay, so you're going to come back, right? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And then you looked at me like, I was like, just agree to that. And then I'll never activate that clause of our little like agreement here.
Yeah, but there wasn't, I thought back, it wasn't leverage because what are they going to do? I mean, like it's worse for the company to cause that sort of issue than it is for one channel to just go. Like it's not like they're just they're worried about it.
Hutch is he's a pleaser. He's a people pleaser.
What? No. Hold on a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me interject real quick. I didn't want to go. I wanted them to give me a fat paycheck. I didn't want to go because part of it was like I didn't have the kind of faith that Adam had in him. Like Adam knew, like I'm gonna go off on my own. It's gonna be great. I didn't have that same. Like I didn't know what was gonna happen. So like,
this is past that though. This is past that when the check was no longer on the table and it was now I can get you out with your channel. This is the end, and we're in the.
Take you at your word.
Okay,
for this.
Take my word for it. I remember it as if it happened 5 minutes ago. And we're in the meeting, and they're like, and bosses that will remain nameless are like, they're guilt tripping you. They're saying like, well, I feel like there's just so much stuff that we could have done. Really hate to see you go. And you're sitting there, and I'm sitting like both legs, like nervous leg bouncing, and I'm just like, don't say anything. Anything you say now counts as an agreement. Just don't say anything. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, this has been great, and I'm honestly looking forward to seeing what you do over there. And you open in slow motion, like your mouth is like. And I'm like, and then you pitched something where you're like, well, what if we, I forget what the details were. You're like, what if, like I go out, I got my channel, it's fine, but I come in and I'm doing this thing and maybe, can we have like a little stipend or some fucking something? And I'm like, no, I had you were free. And the boss's eyes are like, we've got him. He ain't going nowhere.
They knew how.
Hey, we'll circle back to this, and They
knew how to work us, man. Me and Adam, like when when they first started monetizing people's channels, me and Adam walked in and we're like, okay, here's the game plan. We're going to try to get so-and-so to give us our channels. And then like, we were like, okay, well, we just think that it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to be paying us this salary when we could be making this much more with our channels. And the big boss man was like, no, not going to happen. Absolutely. And if you don't like it, you can go. And me and Adam were like, okay, well, I guess we'll go back upstairs.
For a bit.
Yeah, we were not equipped.
Dude, that's also the first time you came in, and I was like, you got to ask for X amount of dollars. And when you came back like an hour later, you're like, I got half of X. And I'm like,
well, their X that they offered me was like fucking twice what I was making waiting tables. So it just blew my mind. And so like
I tried to prep you for that though.
My concept of value is just so skewed. I think
it was what they were offering, like commensurate to what you could actually make, was quite. It was small.
Yeah.
Man, you guys have any regrets whatsoever? I mean, obviously for the Machinima thing, but like just any regrets with content creation whatsoever? Any things that you've, I don't know, like any steps you took? Like you guys stepped away for quite a while. Like you've just come back recently. Sark, when you left Machinima, you never really had a channel before, had you? Didn't you start it after?
No,
like
man, I'm
killing
killing
it. That you had done? Like your first
every move I make is genius. I bailed from G4 as like James Bond jumping out of an exploding plane into Machinima. Bailed out of Machinima as it blew up. Everyone's threatening to sue me as I leave. It's like, crickets.
I mean, that had to have been stressful, though, right? Like I would have.
Yeah, terrifying. So moving to Machinima was moving from G4 to Machinima and then moving from Machinima to my own. That was over a year of financial free fall. So I burned through everything that I'd saved, and we only were able to, even as like the channel started to do something, we were only able to get by because my wife's grandmother died and left her like a few grand, and it got us through. So
Jesus,
it was like a huge gamble. But
I would say like the biggest thing that I regret was when I came back, the numbers were like super massive, and I just went. I got eloped in Vegas. I got a fucking penthouse in fucking Santa Cruz. Was living well beyond my means. No concept of long-term planning, and I faced similar financial stress for like a little while, and then it's only been until like the last like 4 or 5 years that I've managed to get some foundation. But you young content creators, when you first get that burst of popularity in the beginning, try to learn from other people's mistakes and be prudent about it, because this is a really volatile. This can be a really volatile job, and so you may have to reinvent yourself a couple times, or you may have to spend more time with long-term
pace
plans.
yourself.
But Nanners was like the opposite. He was always thinking of preparing for like worst case.
Future thinking.
scenario.
I'd say definitely. I wish I would have taken the time to better understand YouTube and how everything sort of functions from like a business sense. I think I was so focused on trying to make consistently good videos. I wasn't really like focused too much on like, why am I making this? Why should someone watch this? Or what is my strategy? What is like, how is this sustainable? I think that's another thing too, because like it's been I've been 2009, so 11 years, like trying to make sure that, because most people, they work somewhere, and I think now more than any time ever, it seems like people are very transient. They jump around from place to place and job to job, and I think what we do isn't any different than that. And I think for the most part, it's really taking the time to understand where things are going, because if you get complacent, or if you just sort of say, oh, okay, well, I just make this type of video, or I just do this, or this is where I'm at, so this is where I'll be. I think it's definitely a situation of evaluating on a more consistent basis, so you can kind of be safe in whatever your situation is, whether you have a family or people that depend on you, or yourself, like whatever it may be, to really kind of get a strategy going. I think for me in particular, like taking 2 years off to take the time to really say, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, how do I do this and maintain not only my emotional well-being, but also like financial literacy, and making sure that, I'm not spending money where I shouldn't, and I'm reinvesting, and just really trying to strategize, because it is something that it can come really fast. I know that there are plenty of YouTubers that just every month somebody blows up, or streamers or what have you. So I think that what I would say is making sure that live within your means, like Hutch said, and just take everything and just invest in the market or real estate or a business or start a business. Just really try to figure out, but don't spread yourself too thin, and try to think like what makes sense in the long term and how can I sustain this in the long term.
Yeah, I remember talking.
What about you two?
Do what? Oh yeah, no, I remember what Nanners was saying. I remember having conversations with him about similar stuff like back like 3 years ago while we were playing H1Z1 and stuff, and you talking about like, oh yeah, I'm like learning about all this like real estate stuff, and that all really like rubbed off on me, and that's kind of how I've approached like all this throughout the years of going and doing YouTube, of just like I don't want to like finance anything outrageous that like because that I just remember like certain creators, not going to mention names, would buy things, finance them, and then it would all come crashing down within like a year or two, and then then they're just screwed, and it's just like it's not worth it. Like if you're doing well, you can make enough money and save it and be smart with it that it should never be a concern. And so I've been pretty smart about that over the last like 4 years, especially has been a big focus.
Well, what about like regrets though? That was the question.
Regrets.
You and Jiggly.
Oh.
I have a huge one.
Oh yeah, Anthony, I know has one. I'll have to think.
You've been tweeting about it. Yeah.
Wait,
not even just necessarily that. Well, that's
not getting a real bonsai tree for yourself.
God damn it! What was I thinking?
You're getting a bonsai?
No, this little guy back here.
Oh,
but my big regret is I stepped away from YouTube for about 2 years. Right at what I didn't know was going to be the boom. So I stepped away because I was working at retail. I was managing. I was working like 50 hours a week. YouTube coming back from a 9-to-5 job just felt like a chore. I wasn't enjoying it, so I stepped away. And literally 6 months later is like when 1 million became like the number that everybody was hitting. It was no longer just unachievable. And I don't know, just hindsight. Obviously, it's easy to look back and be like, oh, I coulda, shoulda, woulda, but. That's probably the big one. The one I tweeted about the other day of just like I went on that live tour. Obviously, I hooked up with most of you guys.
I saw.
I tried to get Hutch to come out. I think you had to miss it or something, but I got you out there, Adam. But all momentum that I had built going into that tour, I essentially lost because I couldn't maintain being on the road 5 days a week and then running a channel.
Not sustainable, yeah.
24 hours while
when
I'm
you
home.
Were telling me, I was like. Because I knew you would probably come to that conclusion, and I didn't want to provide unsolicited advice. But like as I was watching it, I was like, "This is gonna be a crash and burn kind of situation." Because you guys are, I mean, traveling alone can be quite a bit. Right before COVID, I was traveling, and I'm got the van and the Airstream and the cats, and we're trying to get to this destination and that's for fun. But like when somebody is paying you and you have to be someplace, and there's a lot of logistics, I'm sure that can be on top of everything else. You're going to find yourself in a situation where you're like, because you were still doing, I think you said you were doing YouTube at the time as well. And I was like, how do you do like quality control, and how do you feel incentivized to, because you're just spread so thin, like you're just trying to be everything to everyone. And I think that's extremely challenging. I'm sure you probably, as I've kind of taken more time that really kind of try to evaluate what matters to you and where you want to spend your time.
There had to have been like some personal value though, right? Like, because that I feel like, because I remember you were telling me about it over beers at Korean barbecue with Mike and May and all them, and and when you were telling me about it, I was getting a panic attack just like thinking about it. Holy hell, like that would be so scary. But the fact that you actually did it though, I mean, on some level, that's got to be good for your self-esteem. Right?
No, it's an experience I would probably never take back. It was one of those, it's an emotional tweet on a rough morning kind of day, but it's there are obviously times where you look back and you're like, what if I hadn't done that? Where would my channel be any better today? But
oh man,
I don't know. That's sort of me always, like, it's sort of like Adam's perspective. Like I'm always trying to think of what's next, what's ahead, and how I could be in a better situation maybe if I hadn't taken that opportunity. But
out of curiosity, what do you find yourself like needing? What are your strong needs as opposed to strong wants?
I think I'm starting to feel a little bit trapped in gaming.
Okay, so you want to? Yeah, I think you were talking about doing stuff outside of gaming. We had a conversation after the show. Yeah,
join me in the
case?
Political toxicity. Come on, everybody. Come on in. The water's great.
That'll be good.
Sounds awesome. Yeah.
It sounds awesome. It sounds great.
No, I just sort of like Sark, before you came into the whole machinima realm. I mean, obviously, X-Play was gaming oriented, but it's just more entertainment. You were on the entertainment side, and I think that's more where I'm inclined to be as a personality. I used gaming as a platform for my personality, and now I'm sort of feeling trapped by that platform.
I see.
I suck at games, man. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you I'm fucking doggy doo-doo, but I'm funny. But I can no longer just be the funny fat side character in a comic movie. Like, I need the lead role, goddammit.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, when you think about all the
Where's Panda's Tommy Boy?
When you think about all the things that like you could have done differently along your career, that's like staring into the abyss.
Yeah,
Totally.
If you spend too much time in that place, it'll like physically make you ill if you spend too much time thinking about that. And I think probably everybody in here has done that at some point, thinking about like how they could have improved or done something better. But but like,
dude, that's why I don't want to go out on regrets. We got to talk about like favorite memory or some shit.
Oh, we've still got 30 minutes before
we've got. Okay, good. I'm just making sure we got to end on a high note because I'm about to kill myself.
No. Wait till the end.
Okay.
Let's go off on a banger. No, it's it's not so much as a regret as it's maybe I wish I had planned for it better or managed it a little bit better. I mean, beforehand or something.
I'm right in the same boat as you, in the same sort of school of thought. I don't know if I file it fully under regret, but it's a fun thought exercise to imagine that I just bailed Machinima with Hutch and Nanners and kicked shit off years earlier, you know.
Right.
What's that, year and a half, 2 years earlier?
That's YouTube years. That's like thinking like dog
YouTube years is
a lot happens in 2 years.
A long time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all formative, so.
Yeah, because you're here now. I mean, I know that time has transpired, but for the most part, it's like, I mean, it's weird to think back as like you said, like a thought exercise to say, okay, what did I value at 16? And then obviously transport yourself into the future.
Totally.
It's like all of this, I mean, it really just comes down to very basic stuff, which is like meeting all your needs, making sure like doing YouTube and not have to worry about the logistics of, oh man, what if this video doesn't perform? Or, oh man, what if someone tries to cancel me? Oh man, or what if I'm not funny anymore? Or, oh man, what if whatever happens that people find themselves in. I definitely say that if you get any level of success, just definitely try to pad in your safety. And when I say safety, I mean the ability to freely make choices and not to be stuck in a regret mindset. Because I mean, I think even myself, like I did quite well for myself, but I probably could have done better if I wasn't so emotional. But I think I did so well because I was emotional. So it's kind of like, I don't think there's really a bad or a good instance, because bad things happen and then they're followed by good things. Yeah. Yep. And I think that very much, it's all relative to perspective, because shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because the other day I was on, just out of curiosity, I was on Twitch and I went to Cold War and I just started scrolling, and I just scrolled down and I scrolled down and I scrolled down and I got to like 30 viewers, then 20, and then just a sea of one viewer, and at the very bottom was 0 viewers. And I just started clicking on channels, and I clicked on one random channel and it had like 1 viewer, and the dude was like, so I've been streaming all week, 10 hours every day, and I haven't got any traction, but we're trying, you know. And it was a very like, it was a very weird, of all the things that I clicked on. And I think that people, I don't know, it just seems like it can get very dark if not looked at sort of like subjectively, and take yourself back and say, well, what value do you provide, and why should someone watch? Not in an insulting way, but like, why other than clickbait or a topical thing, like why click on this video, or why reinvest time for future videos? I think the why is really important, not only for yourself, but for people watching. Because like I definitely taken the time to look at like why I'm doing things, and I think that definitely creates more calm, because I definitely struggle with like stress and anxiety and depression. And I think the one thing that's helped me even now is not sweating the small stuff and not getting so locked into, well, what will happen and what did I not do? Because ultimately, I mean, just take a look up and you're just on some spinning little thing in the middle of nothing, and like it's all relative. Like we're a bunch of little ants and we all think we're so like significant and powerful. And I think it is very much, we are significant, we are valuable, but ultimately it's only as serious and stressful and whatever it may be as you make it out to be. And I know that it's easier said than done, but just, I don't know, do some meditation and some walks and see what you can arrive at, So.
Yeah.
Manners is working on his 15 Rules for Life book.
That's right.
I'm sitting in his Airstream.
3 more steps than Jordan Peterson. No, that's
Sitting in his Airstream with his laptop and his cats.
Yeah.
Step 7.
I'm not a very good speller or indoor writing. It's just anything like oral, as it were. That's where I'm at. But
I mean, I've had to do that because my channel is by far the smallest of the people in this call and a lot of the.
Hutch would like
okay, but even like on Twitch though, you've got an established presence, and I've had to address those thoughts, Nanners, where it's like, what am I doing? You and I have talked about this many times, but it took me a while before I just sort of became okay doing what I'm doing, right? It'll take me a week and a half, 2 weeks sometimes to make one video. And I used to really beat myself up over that. And then after a while, I was like, yeah, but this is the video I want to make. And this is why I'm doing it. And if I can make a living doing that, then that's great. But if not, I'd rather just go do something else than try and force it. So it's taken a long time to be okay with that.
Not internalize things that aren't there.
Yeah.
Fucking important. That is so important, especially like long term. Because I remember between probably like 2015 and 2017, it just felt like very grindy. It's just everything. I didn't even want to play video games most of the time. I wasn't enjoying the stuff that I was editing. I was like, oh, this is a piece of shit. let me upload this today. And I just did that because it's like, I gotta get a video up today. And after doing that for such a long time, I finally started to sort of veer into something that I really enjoy, and like with the politics stuff. And then in the beginning, it was kind of a rough transition because most of my crowd was gaming, and like most of them had no, they didn't really think of me in that way. But after doing it for a little while, now it's like I really enjoy doing it, and it's actually started to literally pay dividends because I have this really established Twitch audience, and it's going great. Like Twitch has just been this lifeline, and I'm just way more happier and way more stable just in general.
Yeah, I was
doing that, but it took a couple years of like a lot of stress to get to that point.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like regrets or whatever, and I don't really have any that stand out because I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. But one of them that I was like, I didn't upload a whole lot. Like in the early years, like 2013 and 14, I would maybe upload like a video a week. Sometimes it would be like once a month there for a couple months. There were times. And like, I wish I had uploaded more back then, but at the same time, like I've only ever uploaded videos when I like felt like doing it. That's always been my thing. I've never had a daily schedule. Even now, I try to post every day, but if like, there's a couple days where I don't feel like recording anything or doing anything, or like it's a downtime as far as games, like whatever games are out, I'm just not interested in. Like I may go a few days without uploading. But I think that's good because I only ever upload videos where I'm like, okay, I'm into this. Like this is going to be fun. So
yeah, you said you took your first vacation just kind of semi recently, and it kind of,
it was back in like January. That was the first time I had ever taken like a vacation since starting YouTube in 2011. That was the first time I had ever gone somewhere and done absolutely nothing but just like relax and not worry about my channel. And that was really nice. It was only like 4 days or something. We went to like Miami Beach in January. But yeah, that was like really the first time, because otherwise anytime I'd go on a trip, be like, yeah, the trip's going to be fun, but I need to make sure I have a video going up each day or whatever, or like a couple videos up while I'm gone and a couple videos ready for when I get back. Because, my videos, I usually take a couple days for them to be edited. I have editors now, but even still, it takes a couple days for me to record something and then upload it. And so it's like, okay, well, if I don't record anything for 3 days, when I come back, there's 2 more days where a video won't be up. So yeah, and then it was finally earlier this year where I was like, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go on a vacation. Come back when I come back.
So that shit is so important.
Yeah.
And like, I get worried about the fucking kids these days watching, because so much. I'm serious, Nanners, don't laugh at me. But I get worried about sort of like the prevalence of grind culture.
Yeah.
You know, like when they see all their creators that are like, I'm a fucking
It'll
10
crack.
hours a day, 7 days a
Everyone
week, gotta stay
cracks.
on that grind. Nobody can sustain that. Nobody can sustain that. Maybe like there are some very, very few personalities that actually do like okay in that kind of settings, but for the most part, you know, everybody needs to.
Something health wise will give, either physical or mental. Usually it's mental, but if for whatever reason you're that mentally strong to just grind whatever it is you're doing 10 hours a day, every day for years, that shit is going to take physical toll on your health. Yeah, like you
And
can't.
also, like a lot of the people that are grinding, they also have like a team of people that help them behind the scenes that you can't see. So it's not like they're just Anyways,
Yeah, out of
take some
curiosity,
time off.
Tyler,
Smell the roses.
What do you think motivates the desire for like I have to do videos every day, or I need to do like what is
Money.
Is it a voice in your head?
Fear.
or is it-
Money and
is it
fear,
project-
money and fear.
Okay.
Either one, just like
Death
this is a
and money,
crazy
those are the two
opportunity. I
scares.
want to make as much money as possible, so I'm gonna upload every day. Or it's fear of like I don't know how long this is gonna last. I'm gonna make sure I do everything I can at all
Where do you
times.
see yourself in the future in terms of like, do you find yourself like in the city, out of the city, with a family, not a family? Like where do you like
so
how do you envision your future?
That's something I thought about a lot, like the past year or two. Is like really figuring out, because I've been with my girlfriend for going on 6 years now, and kind of have finally decided like where I want to live, what kind of lifestyle I want to have, what kind of house I want, and everything. And that's really just like this past year that's really kind of I made that kind of decision, because for a while I was like, maybe I want to be in LA because that's where everybody is and that's where all the opportunities are in the gaming scene. But it's like I'm doing just fine not being in LA. I don't mind flying there 10 times a year, 12 times a year, you know, once a month, however often. Obviously not this year, but like, okay, I don't really want to be in LA. I don't think I would be happy there. I don't really like the lifestyle. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm happy here in Tennessee. I like the area. It's not crazy expensive. You can get land. My parents are here. And so this is where I've kind of decided like, okay, this is where I want to be. Now I'm going to get like kind of the house I want and get settled in, and then just focus on whatever I want really for the next 5 years, which is still YouTube right now. But
Do they have
So you think
legal
5
weed
years
in
out?
Tennessee?
no, not yet. But as soon as they do, my girlfriend is going to grow the finest that Tennessee has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's big into like gardening and shit. And she's like, as soon as it's legal, she's like, I'm gonna grow some weed. All right.
What is the timeline on federal legalization? Is it even, or is it just like we're back to normalcy and then gotta
It'll
wait
be
4 more years?
It'll be decriminalized in like 4 months, but then it gets kicked down to the state. So like even if it's legally, you'd have to federally legalize it. But I don't even know
Just
if we
move
have
to
the authority
Portland
to
and
do that.
inject meth into your eyeballs.
Yeah, do the shrooms and then
That's
do
fine.
some. I think what did they decriminalize? Like
Everything.
hard? Yeah, pretty much everything.
They do
But it's not like
criminalize
you
everything.
can still. It goes to it's a shift to treatment instead of incarceration.
Yeah.
I mean, Portugal
Dude,
did
have
that.
a nice
Portugal did that.
marinara, magic mushroom
Dude,
sauce.
you should do your
Portugal
A to
did it like
Z
10
on
years ago,
mushrooms.
and they had tremendous success with it. Like way better. Like the youth the rate of drug use with young people in Portugal went
Dude,
down.
think of how strong Oregonian athletes are going to be.
Oh,
Dude,
my
world
God.
records are going to be broken.
Oh,
it doesn't make sense that they test like NFL players for marijuana as if that's a performance enhancing drug.
Yeah, it would make you more.
They've cut
like,
down
all right,
on-
well, maybe we
they've
just
cut
sit
down on
here.
marijuana testing in the NFL. I think they only do it once in the
okay.
It
preseason
seems
now.
pretty stupid. Like
They're not handing out
who
suspicions
was
for
it?
it any longer.
Yeah, who was it who got in trouble for it all the time? Josh Gordon, is that who it is? Is that his name?
Josh Gordon,
Dude.
Martavis Bryant,
We
a
get
couple
in-
guys.
We get in trouble
Didn't
for
Michael
weed
Phelps
every
have an
time.
issue too? Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
What's the,
I thought
yeah,
it-
but what's
yeah.
the penalty for NFL? You just like they make you sit a couple games and pay a fine.
I feel like
That's
Josh
it.
Gordon got
Maybe-
suspended for like
Well,
like
he got suspended like 6
season.
times, so the severity went up.
Yeah, he got
I think the
suspended for
first
like a
time they get you,
season.
it's a few games, probably a fine. But if they get you multiple times,
Does he still get paid if he
Good
gets
for
like
him.
benched?
with the suspensions, no, it's unpaid.
Okay.
He literally got suspended for so long he was selling cars in Cleveland.
Oh, really? I thought he was big brain for a second. He's just like, oh yeah, I can't play again. Sorry.
No, he
No, he actually
legitimately.
struggled with
No.
addiction issues, though. It wasn't just smoking pot. He had other
Okay.
substance abuse issues, but
There's that
They've
MMA
sort of cut it
fighter too,
down.
right?
I'm
Who's that
sure they all
MMA fighter
smoke.
that tested positive for cocaine or something like that? What was his name? John something?
John Bon Jones, I think his is for steroid use. or performance enhancing use. I don't know.
Performance
a
enhancing.
lot of them
cocaine.
openly smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
I mean, if we got the shit beat out of me for a night for $1 million, I'd go home and smoke a fat blunt too.
Dude, I'm just saying, let Portland host the Olympics. Watch
The Olympic torch
numbers,
is just a
dude.
massive
no
fucking
testing.
hash plant.
You'd have like
The Olympic torch is the biggest blunt you've ever seen.
no, there'd be like I'm talking. You think bigger. Think like PCP yoke bodybuilding, like lifting buses and shit.
While on
Oh
meth.
my
Like a fuck
god.
ton of mushrooms
Swimmers, just swimmers pitter pattering across the surface. They're so
running across the water like
Cartoon.
Jesus.
Yeah.
People are hurling javelins into the audience.
Dude,
Yeah.
make a Portland Olympics happen and
What a
let's smash
utopia.
some goddamn records.
It'd be wild to watch.
A 7-second 100-meter, just and then as they cross the line, they explode. Like that's the end of their life. But they got the record.
That would be. I would watch the shit out of that.
It's got to be coming to Texas soon.
I would assume.
Really?
You guys don't even have You guys don't
Eventually,
even have
all
medical
things-
marijuana.
No,
in Texas, which
it's
is
literally like your
ridiculous.
options is
Yeah,
CBD.
Tennessee's
and
the
I
that's-
think
same.
they'll lynch you in Texas for marijuana still.
Yeah, I think they put you
Yeah.
in like 3 prisons or something. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I put 3 different parts of you in 3 different prisons.
That's right.
CBD is nice though. CBD is I find it quite. Have you guys dabbled in it? Yeah,
Oh yeah.
CBD, a little bit.
A little
I
bit,
just
a
prefer
little
the
bit,
THC.
it helps a lot with like anxiety and muscle pain, stuff
It
like that.
depends
Helps
on where
with
it's
sleep.
sourced though, because it's not like everything's. It's a little bit of a wild west because of the nature of it. You're like, oh, okay, so this is okay, but then this is not because the THC levels exceed some value or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
places.
I haven't smoked or vaped since LA.
Really?
So,
How long's that
yeah.
been? 2 years? 3 years?
Little over 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, California and Texas are way different
Go
in
visit.
that regard.
Go visit LA for a day. Talk about a tolerance break.
I was like, I thought it was gonna be
Yeah,
solid, but COVID.
I'll get high in the plane as it's landing.
Man, I don't think I've taken a tolerance break in 12 months.
What
I'm
what
due.
state are you in?
Ohio.
Oh, tolerance break. Pff, you're fine. You don't
Yeah.
need that.
That's a tolerance break.
Just
Some
a
people will,
break
like,
from smoking, so that way it doesn't
Oh,
take
okay.
nearly as much to
Oh,
get
I
where
see.
you
I
need to
see.
be. But fuck it.
Dude, I was always a lightweight. Like I'm a big dude, but I was always super like,
Do you
dude, if
remember?
someone smoked, if I smoked, it knocked my ass into oblivion.
Do you remember?
So like I would get high if someone 2, 3 seats down from me like
Just
lit up
residual
something, and
contact.
I'd be like, "Whoa, dude, we are all on a little blue marble floating through space."
Do you remember when I gave you that brownie that for the
Oh
first
my
time?
god! So for my first
Both of you
experience,
actually. Both of you.
yeah, my first experience was a brownie, and Hutch didn't really give me the best heads up because you shouldn't have an edible. your
Fuck
first
you, I
experience.
told
No,
you,
you should
don't-
never have an
Dude.
edible your first time.
There-
I told
mean, like,
you. I said, do not eat more than a quarter of this brownie. Don't
the whole
do it.
thing, didn't
I
he?
told you.
Even a quarter,
whole
dude.
fucking
Even a
thing.
quarter.
And then
the
you
thing was
called
like
me.
this big. It was
You
like
ate the whole
you-
thing.
You did eat the whole thing.
I didn't eat the whole thing.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
ate
eat
a
the whole
quarter?
thing. This is your
Oh.
first experience.
You
Yeah.
ate a lot though, because I remember as
Dude,
your
I
boss,
called
you
was
had
like,
to call
"Is it
in
okay
sick
if
to
you
me.
fall asleep because that's what's happening.
You called me and you said, so my throat
My
is
throat,
closing. I
closing.
can't
Is
breathe.
this okay?
Yeah.
Should
I
I go
think
to the
I'm
hospital?
Yeah. I'm like, thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I
It
remember.
was 2 calls because you called
Yeah.
me at work and you're like, I'm not feeling well. I can't come in. Then you called Hutch at his desk and you're like, I think I'm dying. I'm suffocating.
No, he called me
I
the night
can't feel
before.
my
I think the
feet.
next day. Yeah, because
No, yeah.
I was messed up the next day. Because
I felt
I don't
real bad.
remember much, but I was just I woke up on my I guess I laid down, which I guess makes sense because you're sleepy. But yeah, that was traumatizing. I stayed away from it for a long time because
I
of that
felt really
situation.
bad.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. It wasn't like years later I was like, oh, this is actually very
no, but
therapeutic.
you were
By the way,
one
I
that
only know this because Hutch ratted you out instantly. He hung up the phone and then came to me laughing
That
and
sounds
crying.
No. You're remembering this wrong. He called me at like midnight the night
Yeah.
before. And
Yeah.
Oh,
then
you
when I
you
came
told
in-
me when you came in and told me
I was
that.
like, Bro, Adam
the
thought he
things
was
I
gonna
did.
die.
Yeah, I
Shit
was
was
playing
so
Borderlands and I was playing with the group and I was like, because I had made dinner And then I'd had a dessert because it's a brownie. I figured that made sense, but I didn't know because like the way you digest. And so I just played for a bit. I got off. And I was like, yeah, that was a good.
And Sark, you said you were playing Battlefield, and then you just completely stopped functioning after.
Yeah, I felt like everything was. I was trying to play Battlefield, and then my girlfriend, my to-be wife, she's sitting on the couch just dying laughing, and I'm like, this fucking sucks. and then the remote slipped out of my hand. Like I couldn't even hold on to the controller. It like slips out of my hands, and I go like this in my chair. I go, oh, I'm fucking useless. And then just stay there. And she's like, dude, it killed you, that thing. Just like someone shot you with a tranq dart.
I couldn't have thought of a worse scenario that you put me in. It's all your fault, Hutch, not my problem at all. Yeah,
I did feel guilty about that.
No, it's all good, because years later I was like, oh, that was the wrong way to do that. That was just a news bear situation.
Well, Machinima one time invited us. They were doing like, yeah, we're going to be doing a showing of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, I remember seeing that. It
was a great movie, but it's like a small independent kind of comedy horror film.
Yeah,
and they explained it like it was just going to be some showing. So I thought it was just going to be like us, like 10 of us in the theater or whatever watching this. And so I fucking, of course, ate like half a brownie before showing up. And then it turns out it's the fucking premiere. And so I go up to these escalators, and when I get up there, there's like fucking literally people like fucking pulling cameras out. There's like the stars of the movie there. And I just remember freaking I grabbed Kale, and I was like, you gotta save me from this, man. I don't know anybody.
Dude, I remember walking outside to shoot an episode. Nanners was not there, but it was with you. And I forget what the circumstances were, but we needed to shoot a thing. And you were fucking blazed, and it had just come up, and so Hutch is like this. He's like, "Do I look high?"
You're like,
and
yes.
I was like, no, "You're fine, you're fine, yeah, you're good. Just let me do this." So we do a whole thing, and you didn't say anything other than or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
Oh,
so yeah, no legal weed here in Tennessee.
Well, I mean, people, even red states, this in 2020 voted to legalize like all over. So I think most people, like 2 out of 3 people in the country now think it should be legal, which is crazy because like in the 90s it was the opposite. It was only 1 out of 3. So just in the last 20, 30 years, that's a pretty dramatic shift.
That was a good game they played, like Say No and Dare and all that stuff. Like I thought I was just gonna be like, oh my god,
I was gonna catch on fire and die.
The biggest secret was like don't have sex because babies happen. It's like,
dude, this shit is generational, man. They're
so
literally,
stupid.
it's like literally they're dying off, right? Like, and then the new line of thinking comes in.
It's only a matter of time.
Our only enemy is time now.
We just have to outlast them.
I accept your wager.
Eat healthy and get good sleep. Drugs will be legal someday.
I gotta get going here pretty soon, guys. So thank you guys for inviting us on. This was
this has been super fun. I feel like there's still infinitely more to talk about, and maybe we can do it again sometime. Super fun chat with you guys. Some of the OGest of OGs in the YouTube gaming scene. So it was really cool to come and talk about stuff. Up. Yeah, a lot of the stuff was stuff that happened before I even, like I said, was even on the platform, which was crazy. So yeah, it was
sorry
really cool.
for the city, repeat things you guys have probably heard over the years.
Yeah, we try to avoid that, but I'm completely in the dark. I was like,
you try to condense like a decade. So it's a lot. There's a lot of different pieces of that timeline.
That
was a ton of fun.
All right, well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Panda, you're not the fat guy. You're looking good, buddy. Forget that shit.
Not below the microphone.
Well, don't stand up.
It's all lighting and angles.
There's a reason why it crops here. It hides the C-cup breasts.
Oh shit! All
I
right.
guess we have to end on that note, don't we? How
Yeah, we'll
unfortunate.
end on the sea cum rest.
All right, see you later.
All right, bye guys.
See ya.